tap into.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. Yes.
So I thought if I just tap into that into that industry, just to empower people. And again, I'm very passionate about just talking about money makes me happy. I don't know whether I love money too much.
It feels good to talk about money. It feels good.
So I just love talking about money, and I've always had this thing of attracting people who just come to me to talk about their, their financial problems, their financial excitement, achievements. It was not only about, problems only, also achievements. Somehow people felt they want to share it with me, their successes. And I'm also the type of person who see people winning when it comes to money. I have that drive of wanting people to see just a person winning when anything that's got to do with money. I just want you to be successful. So I used to say when I was not yet enlightened, not understanding this calling, because I call this job of mine a calling. I
Yes.
don't think it can be, you can do it without passion. So I always say, before I was enlightened, I was so good with these fly by night things, not because the point of wanting to be successful.
Yes.
Hearing background noise, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
It is. It's mighty
If
dear.
you can you just mute everyone, then unmute me?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
What are you using?
Mute everyone. Okay.
Yeah, mute all and then go to my mic and unmute me. Then I'll be able. So there on more. You go and then you'll see something that says mute because you're the host. I'm not sure if you're using a laptop or a phone.
I'm using a laptop.
Oh, even if you've muted everyone, you can still unmute yourself, says Pelisa. You can unmute yourself after he's muted all of us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It seems the person, did you mute? Okay, yeah. You can continue me.
Okay. So I was saying, even before I was enlightened with just knowing that I am supposed to help people with money, I would just, whenever I see an opportunity for a person to make money, I would just tell everyone, because I always wanted people to win when it comes to money. So until I had an understanding of that, obviously I had it through coaching. I had that understanding through coaching. Then now I managed to, kind of be able to now use this gift, because I take it as a gift, into something that's going to help people. Yes. So that is my background.
Thank you, Ms. Pelisa. Actually, let me also say to everyone who's got a question, when we start, you are more than welcome to ask any questions or to make some inputs, because I believe all of us, we have something to share and learn from each other. And also networking is part of this platform. Yes, let me welcome others. I think we've got Sifundile. Welcome, Sam. We've got Mighty. We've got Lebu. Yeah, let me welcome all the guests. Yes, welcome everyone. The topic that we are busy with is about healing your financial wound or shame and forgiving yourself. You know, Pelisa, I've got this thing of saying shame is not really something who's from a poor background. I realize that shame also comes from people who are rich.
Yes.
It covers both worlds. And now, the things that I would like to highlight before we continue. Some of us, we've made a shame on making bad financial decisions. Some of us, we've made shame. We've got this wound of not being able to pay our debts, and our credit score are being affected. Some of the ladies that I've been coaching, the issues of self-love, like taking a loan on behalf of a boyfriend to start a certain business. When a business fails, then the lady will be left with so many debts. And it's a shame that I've experienced on so many ladies that I've met. Also, from the rich people, some people, they feel ashamed of receiving a lump sum of money. They feel like they were supposed to work for it. And then now this agency of getting rid of this money because now of the shame. So, Pelisa, from your own experience, when I read the book, hey, my highlight was saying when you said you've canceled an insurance car and you had to pay for something that you don't have. Can you tell us how did you heal from that?
Okay, you know what? I'm running out of a battery, but I'm just sorting that one out.
Okay.
So you know, when we start with, you know, with a job, it's everybody's dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody's dream to have a car.
Yeah.
You know, especially still young, and like I say in the book, I was earning a mere 4,500 rand, and the car was taking plus minus 2,300. And in the midst of that, I then had a child, and I was still very young, moved out of a home because now I'm grown up.
Yes.
I'm this grown-up person now who has, you know. Can you just give me a minute? Let me sort out this bit.
Call what you go fast.
Oh, Sibilu, mute. Please, everyone.
Okay, my goal to be, I don't know, what is this? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
Hey, can everyone, how do I mute everyone here? Hey, this system, I'm new to this.
You've got to learn. This is the new normal now.
Yeah, this is a new normal.
You need to familiarize yourself with it.
Yeah, I see things are getting out of control here.
Okay, so I was saying, thank you so much for waiting for me. I was just saying, so because when you still
Yeah.
Sibilu.
Hello.
Please mute yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Mute.
Mute.
Mute yourself. Mute yourself.
Mute a guy.
Oh my God. I don't know. Check there. What are you using? A phone?
Hey.
Hey, I don't know on the phone.
Oh, I see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Pellis, you can come in.
Okay, all right. So I was saying, so I went into that bad decision of taking out a car, and now when I started to move in to stay all by myself with the baby, with the nanny, with the food, with the transport, with the petrol, with the diesel, and everything that was needed, you know, to just basics.
Mm-hmm.
It got too much for me, and the next best thing that I had to do, it was either I downgrade, which I was not willing to do.
Yeah.
Now that was the shame that we're talking about. Now I'm worried, what are people going to say? So I have an option to downgrade and take the car back, or to cut down on insurance, you know.
Yes.
So and there were things that I was not going to be able to do to like, because I had now a furniture account. So if I was not to pay a furniture account, the furniture shop was going to come and collect the things, and now I was not ready for that. That was an embarrassment for me, and I was not going to be able to move to a cheaper. In fact, I was staying in a very affordable area, but you know, I was not going to be able now to move to a rural kind of area where the rent was probably going to be way low. And then the next best thing was to cancel an insurance, you know. But yeah, after that, I did find a cheaper insurance, but it was too late. So when I had an accident, the car was on the way for evaluation for a cheaper insurance.
Okay.
So now, when it had an accident, the car has not yet been evaluated by the new insurance and have already canceled the insurance with the previous one. So it was in that period. So the previous insurance doesn't want to pay because I have written a letter canceling to them. The new insurance is like, I'm not ready to pay you because I haven't seen the car. Now I'm stuck in this debt. And again, it was basically lack of financial education, because I do believe that if I was well financially educated, I would have waited for this switch to this transition to happen smoothly. But now I was stuck with a car that was damaged. I couldn't use it. It was in the yard for over like 4 or 5 months before the bank could actually come and repossess it and see the car is no longer of value to them, because all along they were not aware of the car is no longer in good state. And now I am also angry at now I'm not going to pay off this car because I'm no longer using it. You know, so when they came and collected it, they were in their state of shock to see that, oh, this thing that we thought had value no longer has value. And then when they sold it, I think they sold it at what, 9,000 rand. The debt was over 100,000. And I stopped paying it for quite some time because I was angry. But to cut the story short, at some point I had to face my reality, because there were things that I wanted to buy, there were things that I wanted to, you know, to do that were more important than the car. I wanted to buy a car because I didn't want not to have a car. I wanted to buy a car, but now I couldn't buy the car on credit. So I had to face my music, you know, because at some point you cannot run away forever. So I had to face my music and to say to myself, okay, instead of me being angry, you know, complaining and all, what is it that I have taken from this? What is it that I can do, you know, going forward, not to find myself in a situation of this nature again, you know? What is it that I can actually go out there and teach people so that they don't fall into the same trap? Because at the end of the day, whatever happens in our lives, it's basically I strongly believe that whatever happens in our lives is for us to take out the lessons so that we can empower other people. So it's either we can cry about it or we can look at it in a positive way and what is it that I can do in order for myself first, not to go into the same trap again. And then if I have the means, if I have the power, we are so blessed in these days that the only platform that we need, really, the platform that we need to share our experiences and educate people is the social media. You know, we no longer need to be recognized by some broadcasting station so that I can now share my story. You know, now I just go to social media, share my story, and you know, to learn and understand what is it take. So I then decided this is my lesson.
Lebu.
Hello.
Please mute yourself.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I apologize, Pelisa. Sorry.
Thank you, Lebu.
It's okay. So at the end of the day, I had to now decide this now stops here. And I stop being ashamed, because at the end of the day, if I am ashamed, it's simply because I am the one judging me. I have learned to realize that, you know, people are so busy with their lives.
Yeah.
We worry about people that are not worried about us. We worry about what are other people going to say, and yet they have their own worries to worry about.
Exactly.
And you notice something when you start taking full control of your life, of your finances, you actually realize that, you know, this thing that I was worried about, because I got into this big trouble of a car because I got excited, and I deemed myself as successful by driving a car that was not mine, and that I could not afford. The reality is I could not afford a car at that time.
Yes.
And other additional things that were coming into my life, because I am growing, you know, and it's not the things that I regret, it's the things that I had to go through them. But I said to myself, when I was now taking over, like saying, okay, I'm taking over my finances back to my hands, then I said to myself, this is the lesson. And as time goes on, I then said, oh, okay. It means, you know, when I was writing this book, because there were people that needed to learn from me,
Yes.
and for me to teach them, or for me to have access to them, God is giving me this power of writing, because I don't remember myself a writer. I was telling one of our colleagues, like, you know what, this writing thing that I'm so passionate about now, I don't remember myself it, but when I do it, I feel so fulfilled, and I just picture the likes of people that were in my position 10 years ago when they read that, how quick a transformation can happen in their lives, because at least they were aware. I was not exposed to all kinds of books that I'm exposed to now, and when you read about them, you can see that they were available at that time, but I was not exposed to them, to those kind of books. So it's just a matter of you accepting that, okay, I made a mistake. For you to heal, the very first thing that you need to do, I always say, the very first thing to do for you to heal is for you to acknowledge and say to myself, okay, I am here now. Do I want to stay here, or do I want to move forward?
Yeah.
Then we can take it from there.
Thank you, Ms. Mafunda. Another thing that you touched on your book is about identifying your beliefs and patterns by starting from your ancestral wound. How did you pick up that, you know what, the patterns, the way I handle my finances, they come from family background or family dynamics of our ancestral wound? How did you go about identifying that?
You know, Bongani, when we grow, we are always, I don't know, unless maybe as someone is coming from no background, where you don't know where you're coming from, we can understand those people, because there are people where they don't know, they truly don't know their background. But when we grow, when I'm 2 years old, there is an elderly grandmother, a grandfather, or mother, or whoever who are always there telling stories. So you listen to the stories as the stories are being told, maybe in a funny way, in a way where it's made a joke or anything like that. But when you grow up and then you start to see the patterns that you had around, you know, growing up on the Rondavels, we are exchanging stories there, you know, everybody's laughing about so and so, how they used to behave, what they used to do, and all of that. And then as you grow, then you start to see, sometimes your grandmother will tell you that you take after this person, you know. Sometimes you would even see it yourself, like, I had a father who was there but not there, you know. Do you know that those kind of and now when I'm growing up, I'm starting to see some of the habit patterns that I'm like, oh, okay, I'm following this pattern. And I ask myself, when I was told about this pattern, I was not impressed. You know, it was not something that I was like, ooh, okay, my father was there, but she was not there. I was not impressed. It was not something that was exciting me. Now I ask myself, is it something that I want to continue? If I'm taking up this pattern, is it something that I'm continuing with? But then again, I'd say I was blessed because I got to a church that does not ignore ancestors. You know,
Okay.
we are basically given thorough education of, we can understand, you know, this ancestral thing, you know, how it works. And then now I would say with the gift that I have again, so I then connected that.
Okay.
So with the information that I got from church of how this ancestral lineage works, and then the gift that I have, and then I also added that information with what I had and what I had seen. So what basically happened when I got a kind of clear explanation from the church on how the ancestors work, then I was like, oh, okay. I started to see patterns, not necessarily from me, from other family members, from the friends. You know, someone would come and tell you, daddy used to do this and this and this, and when you actually listening to her, you can actually see that, okay, you are actually taking exactly after your dad. And we would be proud, you know, you look after your dad, you look just like your dad, or you look just like your grandfather, you walk, you do whatever that you do there. It's okay for us to do it if it's on the side where the family members are like, oh, you're doing great, because you're doing, you know, some sort of a confirmation that you actually do belong in this home. And then, because like I said, I always have something extra interested when it comes to money, I then said to myself, okay, if a person can actually take after the grandfather or the ancestor when it comes to alcohol, when it comes to how they walk, when it comes to, so it means any other behavior can be transferred to them.
Okay.
You know, because now why would you take some of the things but not take the things about when it comes to money? And then I realized I did some sort of I don't want to say a research, because it's someone from the family member who was actually like behaving exactly in everything, to the point that he even got the job as same as his late father. You know, the behavior, everything was just there. So I then said to myself, oh, okay, so and so is behaving like this because he's doing this and that, all those other things. And then I said to myself, and then what about money? You know, how is the money thing? I then went to the one of the family members. I just randomly asked questions. How was grandfather so and so behaving when it comes to money? And then they started telling me, like, you know, they were not aware what I was doing. They started telling me, oh, he used to do this and this. And then I realized that this person is actually doing the exact same thing that his father was doing when it comes to money. Then I made a conclusion using that research and my church information. Oh, okay. Actually something that is totally linked with just including money. If you are going to take behaviors of a person and they get embodied to you, obviously you are going to take out the you know, other traits like the money and all of other of those things. And then, like I said, when you write, sometimes when you write, it's not like you are the person writing. You just have to allow yourself for whatever and believe that whatever comes in your head, it's something that needs to be delivered. As I was doing that, I was just given the healing process. I can safely say that the healing process, I was just in each and every wound that I've identified in that book. The healing process was just provided in me. I would just write it just during the, you know, at night. I'm more productive at night. Then I would just write it and the chapter would just end. But I had done a bit of a research on how this India, the ancestors work.
Okay, let me open a platform if there's anyone who'd like to ask a question before I move to other questions. Is there anyone who'd like to ask Ms. Mafunda any questions? Okay, it seems there's no one. Okay, Now, another question that I have with regard to your.
Sorry, Mr. Zwane, please.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
So yes, I know I think you've highlighted specific extracts from the book, but I would like generally just to know what the book, like if Ms. Mafunde can just give us the snippet of the book. So what can we expect? You know, I'll look forward to in the overall book. Yes.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you, Ms. Pakati. Yes, Ms. Mafunda, they'd like to just give a high-level overview of your book.
Okay, clear. So the book has 3 sections. The first section is basically about myself and what are the common mistakes people make, you know, why people find themselves in debt. Okay, let me start here. The name of the book says Healing the Wounds of Debt. That's the name of the book. Then the first section is basically about how I found myself deep in debt. Then it gives you the common mistakes that makes people find themselves in debt. You know, the most common things that make people find themselves in debt. It also then kind of differentiate between a good and a bad debt. I'd like to explain more on that chapter, because I know that normally it's said a good debt is what a house, a finance, a loan for school fees. What's that loan called? Student loan.
Student loan, yeah.
A student loan. Those are usually classified on good debt. Then you'll have your bad debt of your personal loans, your retail store or whatever. So how I basically explain good and bad debt, I say good debt is basically how you feel and what is your intention on that debt. Let me make an example. Someone would say, why would Cleo buy a car yet she hasn't built a home? You know, that's a general norm where everybody is expecting.
Yes.
Where you've seen a trend where they take pictures of good cars standing in a shack or something like that. Well, I'm not about that anyway. But what if Cleo, having a car for Cleo would enhance her work or her business? You want to go to a business meeting, you are in a place like mine where there aren't any Ubers, where you will say a car is just available on your hand. There aren't any Ubers. You definitely need a car. You can't be pitching up in a business meeting all sweaty, worried. No, the taxi got broke down and all of that. So we prioritize. So I'm trying in that chapter, I'm just trying to get rid of this mentality that good debt is just given an umbrella, that everyone would just assume that you are in bad debt, and yet you know that your intentions for this debt, what were they for? So that's basically it about this good and bad debt thing. So that's basically what I talk about, that your good debt can never be my good debt. You might have your good debt that looks very bad to me, and when I take that debt, it's really bad for me. So that is what the first section. Then the second session is about the wounds. You know, the fundamental or the psychological reasons why most people find themselves in debt. Like, for example, your childhood traumas, your ancestral, the one that I've just explained now, your peer pressure, I spoke about the car, because really my point of my having a car at that age with the salary that I had, it was really one of the things that made me have a car was peer pressure and self-sabotage. And one most common things that we never really pay attention to, the fear of money. I call it money phobia. You know, when we grow up, we see a lot of people with a lot of money being given names, you know. It's said that our subconscious mind then develops this mechanism to protect you from being this bad person, even if it means after payday all your money is taken by the debit orders, because your subconscious mind doesn't want you to have this money, that this thing that is very bad, for you. So that is basically the chapter, the second session. Then the last session is now very technical, where I talk about how to get out of debt. I give steps on how you can get out of debt, and what is it that you need to look out for when you're saying you're trying to get out of debt. What is it that you need to look out for? Be careful, because not being trapped in the word that we can help you get out of debt, and yet those people are actually putting you more into debt, or the mistakes that you can make when you're trying to get out of debt. Then the last chapter, I think it's about now how to stay out of debt, because we've got this mentality, you'd say you can actually live out of debt, and everyone, you go around, go everywhere, people would say, no, it's not possible for us to live without debt, so
another question. In fact, she raised her hand here. Yes, Cleo, you can go ahead. You can ask a follow-up question.
Yes, thank you. No, it sounds like a very good book. I promise it's my second last question. It's not my last. It's second last. Where do we get the book? Where do we get the book? And yeah, I think I'll reserve my last question for later. For now, how do we get the book? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. You can order it from online on my website, phelisamafunda.co.za. You can also contact me. I'm going to leave my, let me just give you, in case you decide to go away, you can go to my my WhatsApp. It's 074 9311 000. I'm going to type it on the charts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Cleo heard me.
I don't know. Cleo, are you there? Okay.
I think.
Yes, I'm here. I'm still here. I'm sorry because I've got kids, so I keep on muting my background. I'm still here.
Okay. I just typed my WhatsApp number there on charts. You can just take it.
Oh yes, I see 70493111000. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Mafunda, I wanted to now to ask you about what is your earliest memory about money, because I think, since also I've taken this journey of reading about money, all these books that I have read, they ask you about your earliest memory about money, because they affect
question,
us.
Please.
Pardon?
There's a question.
Yes. Oh, okay. You can go ahead and ask.
Oh, so sorry to disturb, Mr. Zwane.
Yes, sir.
All right, Sis Peli, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Hi.
I would like to check. Sorry, I came in late. Is the book only 3 chapters, or because when I came in, you were on the last chapter, which is the one that is technical. Is it only 3 chapters?
3 sections. 3 sections. It's not the chapter. It's got how many? 13.
The chapters are up to 12.
It's got 12. It's got
not
12.
13, sorry, it's 13.
Hey, Bongan.
13 chapters, sorry.
13 chapters, it's got 3 sections. So the first section is basically my background. The second section, it talks about the wounds, the emotional wounds. Then the last section is the one that you got where it talks about the technical part.
Okay.
Yes.
Sis Peli, in your book, just last question, do you regard black tax as some sort of a debt?
That's a good one.
Okay. This might take a bit longer for me to explain, but anyway, I'll try to, because I get a lot of this question. Yes. And I always laugh. Because
that is why I'm asking, so that at least my mentality towards it can be a good one, or it depends how you break it down. I don't want to approach it as if it's something I'm indebted to continue doing the black tax thing. I will appreciate your explanation.
I always say we are people. Naturally, we are people who have a spirit of Ubuntu.
Yes.
Now, the moment we call it black tax, it becomes heavy. I think it's the way it's introduced or the way it's being said to us. You know, our minds, they read and then they respond. So we say it's black tax, then it comes heavy. It becomes heavy. The moment it's said black tax, it's becoming heavy. I always say we are not indebted to our parents because when we come in here, we didn't put in an application with the promise to say, after you've taken me to school, I am going to pay you back. But when you want to do it, I always say, we must give from a pure heart. When I say from a pure heart, I mean when you give and not expecting anything in return, number one,
Yes.
your heart is pure. When you give because it makes you happy, giving anything to my mother and hearing her say thank you, it makes me very happy. In terms of, it makes me know that my mother knows, you know, that she can always come to me and say, Pelisa, I need this. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be money, you know.
Yes.
So when you give and it makes you happy, your heart is pure. So the first one, you give because you want to, your heart is pure. You give because it makes you happy, that's your heart is pure. You give because you're not giving because you're worried about the community or your sisters or anyone else, you know.
Yes.
Then that is a pure heart. Then again, I was reading a book not so long ago. You are giving not to play God into a person's life. What do I mean by saying you don't want to play God into a person's life? The person cannot move without you giving them. So you are kind of holding that person with chains. Your money is becoming their chains now. So let's just say you have a brother who is unemployed and now you're taking care of his bills, you're buying grocery, you're doing everything for them. They cannot move without you because they know what Putsandile is there. You know, he's going to take care of us. Now you are limiting their headspace to actually go out there, ayopanda, or do whatever that has to be done. I always say we all have skills that we can monetize. It's just a matter of whether getting a coaching on how can I monetize my skill or just going out there and try. You know, you can sell whatever, food, whatever. So if you're giving to that person is not crippling them,
Yes.
because when it cripples them, then you are now playing God. And I'm saying when it cripples them, making them know, it's okay, I don't have to do anything because I know so-and-so is going to, you know, come and give us and take care of us and all of that. Nobody is here to take care of anyone. We are not here to take care of, even my kids. I'm not here to take care of my kids. I'm just a guider. You know, I'm just guided to just take care of them for now. But at some point, they will have to come to a point where they take care of themselves. And I can only assist when I can. And I do it with a willing heart. You see?
Okay.
Now, if it's at home, umama mdala and all of that, obviously umama mdala, there's government who's taking care of them. You want to do it and it makes you happy. And again, this thing of giving, it should be when we are enlightened. Let me just put it like that. When we are enlightened, there is something. I said I was going to do a series on the universal laws. So there is a law that says it's a law of cause and effect. So the law of cause and effect says when you give, it has a cycle. When you give one, it comes back to you tenfold. So multiplied by 10. So when you know those laws, it won't feel heavy. It won't feel like a debt, because now when you give it from a heavy heart, it's no longer a giving. You are indebting yourself to that giving. And when you give it because you want to receive the tenfold, you are manipulating the law, and the universal laws, they don't want to be manipulated, because they can see that you are manipulating them, you know. So if a person says, you know, you're no longer giving, you are investing. I always say, when you do that, you're no longer giving, you are investing. So if you look at it like that, Sandy, I'm sure you will understand it. I hope I answered you.
Yes, you did. Thanks you very much.
Okay. Sandy, I think I like that question, because sometimes, you know, with our families, they manipulate us also to feel guilty, to say, okay, since now we are working, you don't want to contribute any further. And where else you as an individual, your finances are very tight, and we are sinking in debt, trying to impress the family.
Okay, so coming to that, Bongani, I always say, the one skill that we lack as a community is communication. When you set your boundaries clear, they just understand, oh, okay, I also have my own needs. I also have the things that I am supposed to do. And whether in your eyes, they don't look like they are supposed to be done, it's the things that I want to do. So I always say, we can never pour from an empty cup. And that's not being selfish, you know. That's not being selfish. That's actually being very useful to the people that you love, because you are giving them a true you who is not tired and feel exhausted trying to impress you. I always say, if you are not being authentic to yourself, you are going to get tired, and at some point people are going to see this thing that you are trying to hide. So rather you go home and be honest at the same time. Okay, this is what I'm earning. Or if you don't want to do that, guys, I can only afford. I do want to give you money, but currently I'm in a space where I cannot be able to give you money. They're not going to die. They're not going to kill you. They might say bad things about you, but I always say again, if someone says anything bad about you, it's not a reflection of you, but it's a reflection of them.
Amen. Yes. Yes. Okay. Touching on our childhood money stories as to how they affect us currently, then tell us about your child money story. How was it?
Oh, Bongani, it was dramatic. I have a lot of stories to tell about my childhood. First of all, I've always been a child who's in debt, even though I didn't know that I was a child who was always in debt, because I would buy things on credit at school and not have money to pay them, and negotiate my way out, either by taking Bongani's money to pay someone else, to pay Cleo's sweets, then promise money. So I always had that. And then from very early, there was an old lady who then asked me to sell their popcorns. Then I would again, she would then pay me with 2 popcorns. So I would not eat those popcorns. When now how I got myself out of debt, I would then not eat these popcorns, sell them, and then pay off whatever I had taken. So I was always this child. Now that I think of it, now that I had to sit down, because my reason for writing the book, it was for me to actually sit down and say, what is going on? Why is this thing not stopping? Then when I start to sit down, then the memories started to come back, because it's not the things that we keep in our heads, but they started to come back. Oh, you remember when you used to borrow this from this? You remember when so-and-so used to do this when it comes to money? And then obviously my big story that I always say, the one that I saw it as a huge breakthrough for me, having money for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later I didn't have money. It was because of, again, my childhood, where now that was now something that had to do with my home, the background, and not having enough, having food lasting for, you know what, 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later we have to go out and you know, ask for food portions, and then, you know, at a bit later. Then when I grew up and started to work, I had said to myself, I'm never going to go through this, you know, in my life. And now I had looked at it at the tip of the iceberg, where I was like, I'm never going to borrow food ever in my life. What I didn't look at is what has this borrowing food has done now in the EQ side of me. Now it then turned and became the money thing. While I'm trying to ensure that I don't go out asking for food, what I do is I'm going out asking for money. You know, I'm having money that's lasting for over 2 weeks, for just 2 weeks, then borrowing again for another 2 weeks, which at the time we were not trading money. At the time of my growing up, we were not trading with money, we were trading with food. So I haven't actually broken this cycle. This cycle is still like moving around, but I'm not aware of that. I'm thinking, okay, I have broken the food cycle, but I'm not, because I'm still doing the same thing with the money.
Yes.
So
yes.
you get me now. But like I said at the beginning of the webinar, that then when you bring it to your awareness, you know, take it out from the subconscious and bring it to your conscious mind, then you have full control of it. When it's still in your subconscious mind, it's still controlling you however way. It doesn't necessarily have to control you about money, but it has full control of you. You know, you are saying, I'm going to save, but at some point you find yourself not being able to save. Then it moves, it happens. So because now I had moved it, I was like, oh, you know that those aha moments. And it was not even during a coaching session. I was basically coached by a book, because when I read that debt is something deeper than just figures, I then had to ask my question, oh, okay, so if debt is more than just figures, what is my debt about? You know, what is this deeper thing for me? And then I had to sit down and try, and like I do the healing courses, the money healing courses. I always say, take time, sit down and think as far back as you can, when you were introduced to money. Like when you ask me now, can you take us back when you were introduced to money? And then I remember the first episode of money. You know, some of the things I'm not told. I'm told by my parents. I remember my mother and my grandmother, they were telling me not so long ago that they would give me money and I would just disappear and off to buy ubusi. What's this? Honey, raw honey.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that story, but when they tell me, I can just picture myself with, oh, okay, the moment I had money, I wanted to get rid of it, you know?
Yes, yes.
So
yes.
as much as I don't remember that story, but I was like, oh, okay, now I'm in a point where, because, you know, it happened. I would have money, and when I have money, I just want to, you know, go to town, even though there's nothing that I need to buy. But I find myself like, you know, we need this and this and this. Now that I'm aware of this story, I'm like, oh, okay, so this has been my behavior. Now, how do I make money sit more around in my bank account without me feeling the urge to use it?
Yeah.
So, I always say healing is not going to come in some miraculous way. No. It's the little things like this realization. For me, I was like, oh, okay, because it hit me when they said, okay, they were saying it jokingly, you know, laughing about it. Ooh, Pelisa, you've always been a troublesome when it comes to money. Remember when we gave you money and then you just disappeared, and then I found you next to these ladies who are selling, and apparently I had everything. Like I had used all my 20 rand at that time, bought a lot of sweets, what. And to me, I was like, oh, okay, maybe that is one of the wounds that I need to heal, because the moment I have money, I all of a sudden find myself having to see in which, oh, okay, we are out of this, I need to buy this. So now that I'm aware of it, how do I then now devise ways on healing it?
Okay, Miss Pelisa, we've got a question. Miss Phakathi
Right.
can ask. Miss Phakathi?
Yeah. You know, I think Sis Pelisa is yeah, she's taking me back, you know. I was discussing with a friend of mine the other day that, and we were just talking about money and wondering how far some of us would be had we had a different upbringing. You know, I was relating to this friend of mine a story when I was still in primary school, and that day we sold, my cousin and I, we sold biscuits. We made so much money, like we kept on going back to buy these biscuits, reselling. And when we got home, we had so much money and we thought, wow, we have such a nice business idea. We're going to sell biscuits over the holidays. And my cousin's mom, Mama Khuluwaka, was so upset with us that, no, you guys, you know, lubajuta, litlababajuta, things like that. And I suppose, honestly, I was also reflecting as a way of, and for me, it's quite profound what she's saying, to say, reflecting on such things. That's part of healing. It's you know, it's, for me, it's an aha moment to say, for me to heal from money, I don't, it's not something that is far-fetched or that is up there that I can't reach. Reflecting on such and really checking how I feel about them and how I, you know, so yeah, I suppose it's not really a question, but just a statement and a comment, and to really say, wow, yes, for me, that's just an aha for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Phakathi. Oh, Ms. Mafunda, I think Ms. Phakathi is highlighting something very important. Our beliefs that we get from our families is another thing that is really blocking us, because someone will say, I'm not good with money, I don't like money, money is evil. And these are the things that are blocking us to be creative with money. And sometimes when you want to make more money, you feel guilty. The people will say you love money. What's your statement regarding that?
You know, I got a 21-day online healing course on what's financial blocks, just on your financial block. And I've got a 3-day process where you write about your money story, like what your beliefs, and then you write about your parents and then your partner. And it's a very interesting and not to judge. You don't just write about your current partner and your previous partners as well, because they kind of give, you know, the energy rubs in of how they believe about money. You have this dream, and your partner, the person that you like really believe in, they just, you know, rub you off that that thing is not going, you know, they rub in your beliefs. But you know what is nice about the universe and the energy system and the mind is that even if you are 54, even if you are 64, you can still change it. And that's one thing that we are never told, Wuti. We know, Wuti, have you heard of the statement, City, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, something like that.
Yes.
It's true. It's not true. You can teach a 75-year-old new tricks, and they learn if they are willing to. Yeah. So, like in the book, I also cover about money fears, which again takes us back to money beliefs. What is it that you believe about money? Cleo just said now, even though I didn't like understand properly the Sotho part, but I think she was saying her aunt told you, what you're going to be about Judas Iscariot.
Yes, yes.
And when you are still a child, we take on these things that are said by elderly people and the people that we look up to, and we keep them with ourselves. And like I said at the beginning, your subconscious mind, it always it starts with your thoughts or your stories. Either the stories you've heard or the thoughts, you know, how you think. It is then transferred into beliefs. Other than that, beliefs are man-made. Let me rather put it like that. Beliefs are man-made. We create our own beliefs, not anyone else. Nobody comes here and tells you you must believe this. You see what you see, perceive it the way you perceive it, and then the belief is then created, and then now you develop this belief system that then turns into a habit system. So this thing is a three-way thing. It's first the thoughts or the stories. It can be either or, or both. Then these two, they are then moved into one thing, a belief, and then the belief comes to be a habit pattern. So a belief, you believe that money is not good for you. Money is the root of all evil. Money is, bad. And you see stories on daily basis that prove this belief to you. You see, the other day I was like speaking and saying, you know what happens is, so when you already believe this thing, you believe that money is the root of all evil, what are you going to be exposed to? You're going to be exposed to an evil Bongani, an evil Pelisa. How is that evil? They don't have to be like evil, the evil way we see on pictures, but evil in a way that they treat people bad. They are involved in corruption. They are, they're killing people for them to be in that position where they can get money. They are then, you see those on daily basis. Why? Because you already believe that money is the root of all evil. I stopped believing that the money is the root of all evil, and then I started to see good people around money, people that have money and still have the good heart, remaining humble. And we vary our own definition of humble, my own definition of being humble as well. I started being exposed to people who have money and are still very much humane, because somehow having money, it for a lot of people, it then means those people have lost their humanity, of which it's not true. There's a lot of people with a lot of money and are still very much humane. And I always say, money doesn't change who you are. It only magnifies who you are. So a person is actually a true self when they have money. Humbleness and a broke person, that does not necessarily mean that person is humble. That person is broke, and and you don't have to, they don't have to have money to actually, for you to see when they have money how they are going to behave, because they drop small statements like, the day I had money, I'll stop speaking to this and this. The day I have money, I'm moving out of this hellhole. The day I have money, so for them, this current behavior while they don't have money is just a front. It's not who they truly are. So because you believe that money is doing these things, you are then exposed to those people that are doing all those things. I always say, for example, you watch any South African local soapy or anything, anyone who has money, they are not good people. You go to Generation, you see Jack Mabaso is a terrible person. You go to the Queen, you see the Khoza families, they are horrible. You go to the River, the Tigana family, they are the people who are doing bad things. So we are given proof on daily basis that the people who have money are horrible. Then it then moves to your habit pattern, because now your subconscious mind already knows that people who have money have bad people. Then your habit pattern is going to protect you from becoming that person, because you truly know that you don't want to be a bad person. You truly know that you don't want. So now your habit pattern, it's not going to be like, how do I put it? It's not going to be in a clear form. You will see it in small steps, like you have money, you get rid of it. You get an increase, you increase your confidence. So that is a habit. And a habit, you don't have to be, most of the habits, we are not aware of our habits, until we actually pay attention to them. I used to have a habit. I'm a Forex trader. And when I was still starting, I used to lose a lot of money, and I would bite this part. Whenever I'm stressed, I would bite this part. It then became a habit. I had anchored that my fear is here, until I paid attention. Why am I doing this? And obviously having an understanding of how the energy works and all of that, I would bite this part and then trigger that fear again. My body would then automatically tune into the fear mode of me losing money. And what else was going to follow? I was going to lose that money, you know, because we are co-creators. I know that's a topic for another day, but we do create our own reality. So it's very important. Okay, so what I want to now to come back to this habit. Now, when you have seen, because me giving you problems and not giving you solutions is not going to help. So when you've seen this habit, you have picked up this habit. Let me just make an example. With me having to have money for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later I don't have money. Then what do I do? What did I do? Because now I had picked up, oh, okay, I have now developed this habit. I then developed something that I call a habit interrupt. How do I then now, because now I am aware, remember I said the moment you bring it to awareness, it then, you know, you can flip the coin. Then now, because I was now aware of this thing, I had to now develop a habit pattern of how do I interrupt this habit. How do I do that now? I say, okay, I am this person who says whenever I have money, I want to go and buy. Whenever I feel the need to go and buy, I then delay. I say, okay, no, I'm going to go tomorrow. Because I already know, oh, I want to go and buy. And then my mind is like, oh, there is your old devil, Ivuga. You know, then I'm like, oh, okay, let me now interrupt this devil and say, you know what, I'm going to go tomorrow and buy. Then the moment I do that, the mind is starting now to read this pattern. It's not something that can happen overnight, but it's something that you can practice, and then you can actually do it. And I was like, oh, okay, it started to like, I want to go and buy, and I'm like, no, I'll go tomorrow. The moment the money comes into my account, I want to buy, and I'm like, no, it's okay, I'll buy tomorrow. There is, Mhlambe, I wanted, let me go buy something, let me go buy ice cream. And I'm like, no, I actually don't need ice cream. No, I actually don't need a chocolate. I'll go buy it tomorrow. Then tomorrow, I then know. And now that edge of wanting to get rid of money is then neutralized little by little, then tomorrow. Another thing that you can actually do to interrupt this pattern, if you are a person who gets paid on monthly basis, you can just delay your debit orders. If you are getting paid on the 15th, just tell them to move their debit orders to the 25th, just to get the discipline of knowing that you can actually, your account is, you know, entitled to having money for at least 10 days after your salary. Then you can now prolong it, and then the mind will get used to it. And then the next thing, you will see yourself having money from the first of the month to the last day of the month.
Coach, that one I support you 100%. Because Busi told me on our coaching session, I think last year, said, Bongani, no. You cannot say your money comes in today and suddenly you want to go and buy things, buy. No, we are not bonding with your money. And I said, Busi, okay, what should I do? That? No, go and move all the debit orders 5 days later. And it's working, because now if it's good to have money in my bank account, I don't stress, I acknowledge it, and I appreciate it. No, thank you, Coach. That one we are spot on, Coach. So now, Coach, let's talk about forgiving ourselves. Now we have made all this shame. And I've noticed that forgiving involves 2 phases, letting go and moving on.
Yes.
I like in your book when you say, when you have an old habit, you should replace it with a new habit, because the chances are you might fall back.
Yes.
So, yes, just give us another scenarios of forgiving ourselves when it comes to handling our money issues or healing our shame.
Okay, so can I just start here, Bongani, just take you off bit a little, Yan?
Okay.
Forgiveness is way deeper, is way big. You know, when I was doing this 21-day online course, I was there's a day where I talk about not just forgiving yourself, but forgiving other people as well. And there's actually a meditation where I'm like, you need to forgive whoever you are holding a grudge on, so that you open that space. You know, that energy where you are angry at a person is actually one of the blocks that is blocking you to receiving more, because you have got this energy, this bad vibe, you know, energy in your body. So first of all, very important to forgive others. Whether you know, sometimes you know why I'm saying this? Sometimes we are like, okay, I took out a loan because I wanted to build a home, a kaya. I wanted to renovate or whatever it is that I wanted to do. And now I'm angry at the fact that every month I'm paying this salary, this debit order, this loan. And now even that house, I'm not celebrating it because it's giving me this pain, you know. Start by forgiving that and embrace the fact that, you know, look at the beautiful side of the fact that, I have actually built a beautiful home for my home, you know, whether whatever you have done, or if you were like, okay, I have taken a loan to just support Ubongani and whatever that you have done. First, forgive Ubongani. Okay, I took a loan for Ubongani to support Ubongani in his business. Now he is flourishing. Wangshia. I'm just making an example.
Okay.
Forgive Ubongani. But okay, fine. You know what? Just allow to say, okay, I'm not going to be angry with Yena forever. And, you know, he's not in control of my life. Whatever that has happened, I needed to learn. So again, what is it that I have learned? So forgive yourself, learn, and then be ready to empower other people. Again, let me just talk about empowering. There is this this thing of educating in a judgmental manner. You're not educating when you're doing that, because now you are saying, you know, oh, I've worn that top, never again. No, you know, you're not educating. You know, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt for it. No, thank you. You know, now you are coming from an angry side of you. You're not coming from the, like, you know what, guys, I actually did this, and this is what I've learned, and this is why I would say a person must not do it. But then again, if you feel like doing it, we are not God. Remember that. We are not God. We don't take what are other people doing. But what we do is we share our experiences. Then they choose to learn from those experiences. So very important to forgive the person who has made you be in debt. Maybe sometimes someone has said, we bonile iloni is available kwa Capitec. I remember when Capitec was introduced, it was like they were on sale. It was like loans are on sale, go Capitec, you know. Even if someone who has said to yourself, you know what, you just go to Capitec and get a loan, and now you find yourself angry with that person, forgive that person. But then again, most importantly, forgive yourself. How do you do that? Again, acknowledge. Very important to acknowledge that, okay, I have messed up. Nobody's going to judge you. You know what? Another thing, when you judge yourself, other people are going to judge you. It's always like that. Whatever you see from other people, how they treat you, is more chances are you are feeling that yourself, whether aware or unaware, whether consciously or unconsciously. But there is a part of you that needs healing in that aspect of life where you feel like people are judging me, people don't love me, you know, people, you know, where you've always feel that people should do something to you. So acknowledge, okay, I have messed up. I acknowledged I have messed up by moving a car from this insurance to another insurance, and then not wanting for this previous insurance to have, you know, until this one takes over. I had messed up. So acknowledge that. Then when you have done that, let it go. You know, we're not saying forget about it, but allow the pain that you are feeling, but don't let the pain to control you. You know, it shouldn't be every day. That's the only thing you are thinking about. No, now you are letting that pain control you. You know, whatever scenario that is happening, you know what, I could be helping you. It's just that I'm stuck in this loan that I took because Ubongani did this and this and this. 5 months down the line, you know what, we need this and this. Yo, I can't help you. Galogo Andy Ubongani made me take this loan and what. Now it's now controlling you. You know, acknowledge and then be like, oh, okay, it happened. Acknowledge the pain, feel the pain, but allow the pain to go away. Like in any natural wound, you know, you go out there, you step on a knife, it opens a wound here, and then you cry, and then it starts to heal itself. It itches, and it itches, you keep on itching it, then all of a sudden the body closes that wound. You're left with the scar, but you can just touch it and you no longer feel the pain. So we're not saying hide your scars. We're saying, okay, acknowledge, I am not hiding my scars. I'm talking about my scars every day, but they're no longer hurting me. Whenever a person comes to me and talks about whatever, it doesn't hurt me. Instead, I'm in a point where I'm educating people about it and making people aware, and like I said, take what they can, take what works for them, and then move forward. So then when that is done, the acknowledgement, the acknowledging the pain, and then take out the lessons. I am a fan of journaling. Journal it down. If you can't speak to anyone, because you don't have to speak to anyone, you can just speak to the universe. Just write it down, and then when you're done writing it down, then now develop steps. How do I then now move away? In my book, I talk about develop new habits, replace the old habit with the new habit. Like now when you go into the second relationship, for a fact, which nobody's going to smooth talk me to take a loan. I'm not going there again, unless if maybe you are a good person with a good heart, unless these conditions, unless we are married, if you are that person, unless we are married, unless you've got conditions, your own conditions, your own terms and conditions. So, and if anything like this happens again, how do I then tackle it? I always say, whatever we go through, even if it's financial and it hits us really hard and, we can't move, take that as your school fees. I have learned, I was paying in this university of life, but I don't want to pay again. I don't want to pay for the same module again, because I have learned. What is it that I have learned? What is it that I'm taking? What is it that I could have done differently? And Pelisa cannot tell you what is it that you can do differently. You can only tell yourself. You can only determine that. Maybe Pelisa can guide you, help you, with the right questions, but you cannot tell you, Uguti, what, for you, Uguti, you don't fall for this trap again. You need to do A, B, C, and D. No, that is not for me to do that. I can tell you, Uguti, when I was in this situation, this is what I did, but not necessarily to say it's going to work for you. Then maybe I did 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you see, okay, 1 and 2 cannot work for me, I'll start from 3,
Yes.
So that's how you heal, and that's how you forgive.
More. Sandile would like to ask a question. Bab Sandile, you can ask.
Sispeli.
Yebo.
Sorry, my dear one. I don't want to miss this opportunity. Can you please, because there is something, you reminded me something when you were saying you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. Now, please share with me. I've got a 4-year-old daughter. If I were to start to teach her if financial wellness or to be financially responsible at that age, so that she can be a better person when she's an adult in terms of managing her finances.
Okay.
What are the baby steps?
What are the baby steps? The baby steps is freely talking about money. And I always say, we need to heal ourselves first before we can actually transfer whatever knowledge to our kids. So I have this statement that I like to say that in my kids, they don't know that this is not enough. This, this is expensive. This is you get me. Don't eat too much because we're going to run out. Because with that, I'm instilling fear and lack, But at the same time, they do know how to be responsible. I'll give you this 5 rand. I'm not expecting you to run out of this 5 rand in the next 2 hours. You know, I'm saying use this 5 rand, but in a way where you can come back to me and say, I bought sweets today, tomorrow I bought this, you know, and I'm even more happier if you say, okay, I'm buying these sweets. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I don't know, she has stopped now, but I remember when she was 8, we had bought her a bicycle, and what she would do, she would rent it out. I didn't know that she was renting it out. She was she took it to her kids, to their friends. Every time a friend rides, they paid her 2 rand. I then saw this jar full of 2 rands. I'm like, where are these 2 rands from? And then they were said, is it 2 rands? Is Galukanyo? I'm like, what? Good Kanyo, what 2 rands? Then she had started a business. But because she's still very young, you don't want her to be scared of money. You want to give her baby steps in terms of financial knowledge, knowing that money is there, but money needs to be used responsible. You give her, you go to the shops with her. If you're buying anything like that, sweets and all of that, don't allow her to want the chips, the sweets, the what. And for you to see that you are testing her or you're training her. If you said you are going to spend 20 rands on her, give her the 20 rands and get her to choose, you know, to be able to know that this is the amount of money that Udada is giving me today to spend and have fun. Again, don't overspoil your kids. You know, in the book, I talk about the parents who grew up from a lack background, where they then now tend to overcompensate for their children and be in a mode that say, I don't want my kids to suffer because I used to grow up from a suffering mode. You know what you are doing? Yes, you are now transferring your lack to them indirectly. You are creating a wound, you know, indirectly. So you don't want that. So we need to be very mindful of how we speak about money around our kids, how we spend our money around our kids. You know, no fights about money in front of your kids, no matter how young they are, because they will know it, you know, they will remember them, and if it's traumatizing them, it will be there. So no fights about money, and no stressing about money. I always say, even if you are out of, you know, when you are out of everything and you are like stuck, you don't know what to do. You know what? Money is not your source. We've got a bigger source than money. It's not your source of everything. You know, when you don't have means at that time, be in a way of saying, I will have means tomorrow, and there must be a reason why I am. If you wanted to buy a cell phone or whatever, there must, when the time for the cell phone is right, it will come to me. So not stressing about money, especially in front of your children, because you are going to make them scared of you know, of money, and thinking, I don't want to see that they're unhappy because they don't have money, you know. I'm not sure if you get me, but the most important thing is, don't instill lack tendencies in your child. Lack tendencies is you shouting them for messed up clothes, shouting them for food. No, rather educate them. You know, give them time frame. I'm giving you this, and then it should last you at least for 2 weeks. And if after 2 weeks, if it's lasting them for a week, let them go on for another week without having the it, so that they learn the lesson. You're not instilling lack, but you're giving them a lesson to know how to manage.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you happy, Baba Sandy?
Happy, Dad.
Oh, siyabulela baba. I think Baba Sandy left Utasha on another childhood thing. In a book, I was asking myself that, how do I balance when raising the children, not transferring lack of fear, but to train them to be responsible citizens around money? It's another question that I was asking myself. Because when you say when a child is from a rich parent, the chances are they will adopt their behavior. And then when I'm from poverty, like I'll transfer my lacking skills. So how do we really strike a balance there to say, you know what, I want my children to handle finances in this manner, and subconsciously also to train them to behave in a certain way with regard to money?
Okay, so for me, it's very important for your kids to know that money is not their source.
Okay.
You know, when they know that they have a bigger source than money, you know, then you have taken away the lack. You've taken away the lack part. So you've just totally removed the lack, because now they're not going to have praise money. Everything revolves around money. So they just know that they will always be provided for.
Okay.
That is you taking away lack. Then the technical part in terms of them budgeting, they're not budgeting because they are scared they're going to run out. They are budgeting because it's a responsible thing to do.
Okay.
They are because they're not planning because they are scared they will run out, because they know that we never run out. But they do it because it's a responsible thing to do, you know. Hence I'm a financial wellness, not just a financial who just does technical. The wellness part comes to the part where I'm saying you must just know that you will always have enough. Budgeting and planning is not coming from a scarcity side. It's coming from being a responsible person, you know. And I'm big on gratitude. So when you have done your planning and your everything that you wanted to do, that you have wished for to happen, then be grateful for that, so that you get what more. You are in that higher frequency, you know, you're vibrating high because you're happy and you're all there. And when you are there, you just know who your source is.
Yeah, I think as parents sometimes it's hard to detach what to say. It's hard to detach your emotions with your bank balance. If your bank balance goes down, it means your vibration also goes down. And I think most of us, we are struggling to be on that high vibration, even though our bank balance is on 0, 0.
So
how do we maintain that?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. So, Bongani, you know what really works for me is knowing Uguti money has not left me. So if I buy the cell phone, if I take my bank balance and buy the cell phone, this is my money. This is where my money is at. It's not in figures. So this is my money. If I have a car in the garage, I've taken out my money, and then I have a car in the garage. That's my money hasn't left me. My money is parked in the garage.
Okay.
So a bank balance for me it doesn't reflect what I have. A bank balance is the means of me getting this cell phone. A bank balance is the means of me getting a refrigerator. A bank balance is a means of me buying that house. But if it's on 0, 0 and I have my cell phone, I have my car, I have my food, I have my everything, I'm not on 0, 0. I have actually have the 6,000 rand. If I have paid 6,000 rand, it's just that it has been distributed, you know, to the things that I need. Because reality is we don't eat money.
Yes.
We don't buy money, you know. Money is just the means for us to get the things that we want. So when you look at money like that and say, okay, when you have your bank balance and you ask yourself, oh, okay, now I've got 100,000. So what is this 100,000 affording me to get, you know, what is the means for? So it's a means for me to say, oh, I wanted to do that pavement, so let me rather do it. So when I go outside, I'm like, you know what, I've kept my 100,000. Maybe my 100,000 has now accumulated. If I were to call someone and say, how much would you pay for this house? They'll be like, I'll pay 200,000, you know? So when I go outside looking at my wall and I know I've paid 50,000 rand, I'm like, I have not lost this 50,000 rand. There is my 50,000 rand. So we should teach ourselves not to look at money as only one place in the bank balance. The money is in this scarf. The money is in this dress. This is my money, whether it's 100 rand or what, but my money is here. So when a person says, what happened to your 100 rand? I'm like, here is my 100 rand. What happened to your 200? Here is my 200 rand. So it does not necessarily have to be in the bank balance. That is where we make the biggest mistake and attract more stress. You know, you do the things that are good with your money. You go out to buy your curtain, pay 10,000 rand for your curtain that you really love, that really makes you happy. And then because all of a sudden now you've got 0 in your balance, you get frustrated and you stop appreciating the curtain that you bought, you know, with the 10,000. So now we need to learn to know that the bank balance does not necessarily mean that's where your money is at. Your money is where?
Cell phone.
Your clothes, whatever.
Okay, I think another step that I'd like to ask is, how do we detach our emotions to our bank balance?
I just said this one that I do now, you acknowledging, and again being, I always say being enlightened, because you tell me, if I were to tell you this 5 years ago, if you were to tell me what I've just told you 5 years ago, I was just going to look at you and be like, hi Bo, what is she talking about? My bank balance is 0. At the end of the day, my bank balance is 0. So it comes back to being enlightened again. When I say enlightened, is just having an awareness of what I've just said, you know, of what I've just said. Then it will be easy for you to detach. And also, again, very important, to practice your gratitude. Every day, just look at something that you are grateful for, you know, because when if looking at your bank balance, it's your 0 bank balance is stressing you, then stop looking at it, because you're not going to appreciate, and you're going to attract more 0 bank balances. Then look at the things that you can actually appreciate. So we have 2 choices in this world, to look at the good and to look at the bad, and which one is serving you. So the good is serving me now, it's making me happy. I go to bed happy, you know, I'm a happy husband. My kids are always happy to be around me because I'm not frustrated, I'm not stressed, I'm not what. So do I choose to focus on this thing that is, I cannot change it now? It's making ukuthi endlini kube a miserable home, or you know, you have a choice. You always have a choice. So rather celebrate what, okay, yesterday I had 10,000 rand. What happened to my 10,000 rand? I bought this and this and this. And again, if you bought things that are not making you happy, move away from those things, you know. Work on, okay, now I bought alcohol and I'm feeling very guilty this morning. You know, I was happy, but now the after effects, I'm feeling very unhappy. How do I then now manage this situation? Okay, buying alcohol makes me happy, but buying too much, buying alcohol with 3,000 rand makes me unhappy. Okay, I still want to buy alcohol. Then how do I then manage? How much would I be happy if I were to spend on alcohol? How much would, when I wake up in the morning and see, oh, I had fun last night, but I managed to spend 300 and I'm not, you know, feeling bad about it. Then work on that. How do I then now? Remember, now we come back to now the planning, because we are in the real world. We can't be living on a high forever. We've got to come back. Oh, okay. So alcohol makes you happy. Then how do you then now make sure which part of buying alcohol doesn't make you happy? Hey, when I wake up in the morning, I come back with, I see my bank balance at 3,000 rand down. Oh, okay. So how much would you rather be? You know, that's when now we're coaching each other now. People always, when we say I offer coaching, they would think, I'm going to help you get money. But I help you with little things like this, you know, that make you prosper in life and still not feel like you are in prison. This life thing is a prison thing. You know what? Because I'm working on my finances, I need to stop doing this. Why should you stop doing things that are making you happy? Because we want to have people that are happy around us. But the most important thing, how do we then do this happy thing in a responsible manner?
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. I think, Coach, in our closure, I'd like us to talk about mindset. Mindset is another thing that as much as you try to implement things, but the thoughts of the past saying, remember you lost that money there, remember you did that mistake there, remember this, remember that, and that makes someone to lose focus and to give up. You know, and then how do we train our subconscious mind to support us in the new building of habits and letting go of old patterns?
Okay, so first of all, I can just answer this with a simple I can just answer this with just one line and say call a coach. I can simply say just call a coach and say, hi coach, I'd like to be assisted with the change of mindset. You know, but we understand that this coaching thing is a very new concept to people, and we are okay, you know, just to give them the idea of what coaching is about. But with you saying, I want to test something, and then the mind comes back and says, but you have failed, you have done this, you know, it keeps on reminding you of the bad things. You know, you need to first, again, forgive yourself. You know, work on forgiving yourself. When you do that, then understanding how the mindset works. Like I said, I want to do a 12 series on the universal laws. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I'm just going to do it on my page, on my Facebook page, on just making people have some sort of awareness of how the universe works. And you know, we say whatever we think happens. You know, whatever we put focus on, we manifest. So if you are enlightened, again, I'm going back to this word, and you will be enlightened by understanding these universal laws. If you understand this concept that I've just said, whatever we focus on, we manifest, then it will be easy for you when the mind, but you have failed before, to actually counterattack with this with a positive mindset, because you know you don't want to fill up your mind with negative thinking, because if you do that, you know, you are creating the future. We always in coaching we say you create your future today, but by what you think today, you know. And we see it happen on daily basis, you know. You see it, there's something called intuition. You think of something and you ignore it, and usually the intuition is so right. And what happens, I always say, there is not even a single person who doesn't have an intuition, and we always fight intuition. Intuition comes silently and you fight it with the word outside. Like, for example, it would be like, you're going to trip there. You know, your mind would be like, you're taking, you have a glass, a wine glass in a tray. We all know a wine glass cannot stand in a tray. It's going to fall. You've got a wine glass in a tray, and your intuition tells you this glass is going to fall, and you respond. Have you ever had someone saying, you just saying, no, it's not, and when you say with someone, what are you saying? I'm like, no, I'm talking to myself. Who are you talking to? You are fighting with your intuition, you know. So when your intuition speaks to you, then you are able to listen to it. So like I'm saying now, you generally, you need a coach. You need a coach going to help you to be able to tune into that higher frequency. That's going to be help. What is it that you need to do? Like, for example, people think when I talk about gratitude, I'm just creating content, but it's one of the concepts that help a person to tune into, to stay into a higher frequency. And just to explain a bit about the frequency, you know, there is something that I speak about in my 21-day online course, healing course, where I say, have you ever walked into a totally new town with someone who takes in Nyaupe, and then they just disappear for a day, and then you find them in a Nyaupe corner? They never asked anyone They never went around and said, do you know where cocaine is selling? Do you know? They didn't. Their vibrational frequency took them exactly where they should be because they are vibrating in that frequency. There is a law that is called, in this universal law, the law of oneness divine or divine oneness, something like that, that says everything is connected to everything and anything. We are connected, you know, we connected. I'm connected to the chair that I'm sitting at. You know, the climate is connected to me. When it's hot, everyone is feeling hot. They can never be hot and there's someone feeling cold unless they are tuned into a different frequency, which is the corona frequency or anything like that. But if it's hot, everyone is feeling hot, which means we are this one connection. So we have our own vibration where if I'm vibrating, you walk into a hall full of 50 people, the people that you connect with, you'll just go to them. And then when you speak, you will hear that your stories are almost the same. You didn't know each other. You know what? There is this invisible energy that we're just not aware of, but it's there. You know, we connect to each other and we like, and a person, how did so-and-so, how did you become friends with so-and-so? And you just know, we just clicked.
Yes.
And when you listen to stories, you've got the same stories, you know.
Thank you, Coach. No, thank you, Coach. No, Coach, we thank you for everything. Let me open a platform for questions. Anyone who has got questions, this is the time.
Or comments.
Or comments, yes. Or comments, inputs, yeah. Or the experience with money.
I see a hand, Kasandile.
Oh, okay, Babsandile, correct.
Okay, he never lowered it down.
Hey, khane ngibona manje. Babsandile ukuphi?
Yes, my hand is up.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes, Baba. Yes. This is your platform, Baba Kolo.
Okay. Sis Peli, on the, can you please advise me on the issue of, what is it called? Emergency account. How, from the scratch, how do I begin to start filling up emergency account, and how much money vis-a-vis my salary or my monthly expenses, how much money should be in that emergency account, and it should be money that can last me for how long?
Okay,
For example,
so
if I'm earning 10,000, from that 10,000, how much money should be in that emergency account? Or if my monthly expenses are 4.5, how much money should be in that emergency account? And is it really a necessity, or it's just a fancy thing that someone with money has to have it?
I'm laughing at the word fancy. You know what, Sandile, an emergency account is a need for a responsible adult, if I can put it like that, or a responsible citizen. But we knew in this concept of emergency amount, we were never told, we were never taught of these things. So we can't beat ourselves for it. An emergency account or an emergency fund will protect you from unnecessary debt, because whenever you have an emergency that you really cannot run away from, you find yourself taking a loan, you know. So if you have an emergency account, you know where to go to. But then again, we're not ready, we're not yet educated, we're not yet enlightened about these things. We start small. Generally, it's said that you should have up to 6 months of your monthly salary saved up. So if you are earning 10,000 rand and you have living expenses of 10,000 rand, you should have 60,000 rand saved up. But now we all know what raising up is 60,000 rand. It cannot be something you can do tomorrow or next month or anything. But you can just start small. I usually say to the people that I work with, I've got a 6 months financial wellness program. I usually say you earn 10,000 rand, would you be able to put in 500 Rand at least aside, you know, for for savings? I don't like to use the word emergency because remember I said we are co-creators. So if you say to yourself, I want to have at least an emergency of 10,000 Rand, the moment you reach at 10,000 Rand, then you will create an emergency. So rather say you are saving up, this is my saving account, I'm putting this money so that whenever I can access it, whenever and wherever I need it. So you can start small, start with a 5%. If you can't put in, to be more realistic, you can put in 10% of your salary. You're earning 9,000 Rand, you're earning 10,000 Rand, take 1,000 Rand and put it on your salary, on your side, and then start having your whatever that you need to do with your 9,000 Rand. But if you've already overcommitted, start from whatever that you can afford to create a habit of saving. And to also you know, uzikhuthaza. When you have 1,000 Rand, you get excited and you want to see this 1,000 Rand becoming 2,000 Rand. So you're building up the excitement of having money that you can access anytime, whenever you need to. And when you start to do this thing, you become very protective of this money, because now you know your idea. You want to have money. You know, when I started to save up money, my mother said to me, you upangela ungabi nayo 2,000, didn't funi 2,000 ungabi nayo nje upangela, you know. And then I really felt, you know what, this is something that I really needed to do. Then when you start now to build up, you get excited, and you don't just create emergency, you weigh up, does this really need me to go and tap into this money that I have saved? So you don't just go in there and go to it anytime and whenever you feel up, but start with whatever that you have. We're not the same. We don't have the same backgrounds, and we don't have the same commitments, you know. So if I come here and brag to you and say I've got an emergency account got 50,000 Rand, you don't know how long I took to compile that 50,000 Rand. You don't know how I started, but one thing for sure, you know that I started. So just start with whatever that you have. And the moment you do that, you're going to get excited, and train yourself to put your money in a place where you are, it's not going to be available just by, you know, in your phone, where you can just easily access it. You can either put it on 32 days, or there's an app that I really love, Stash. My Stash account doesn't even have, is not verified. I just stash in my money there, and I know I cannot access it because it's not verified. For me to access that money, I need to first verify Stash. And because I know whenever I have like emergency, I'm like, let me verify Stash so that I get that access. And then I get lazy just to think, I need to go to, you know, get a proof of address and all. I'm like, no, let it go. And then I find ways to attempt whatever the emergency that I have. I know the day that I really need my money, when I don't have a choice, going to the police station, wherever, to get a certified ID and what, it won't be a problem. But because, you know, I'm building on something, there's something that I want to build, then, you know, I go and I stash my money there. I'm creating what I want to create. And I don't just go in there whenever I feel like, you know, it doesn't become an emergency. If umbani, I'm like, find ways. Can't you buy from eBucks or whatever, you know? And then the ways will come on how to buy umbani. But if it was accessible, I wouldn't even challenge people to say, when they say we are out of bread, and I'm like, if flour, you know. Where if it was easily accessible, I was like, then simply transfer the money and then they go buy bread. But because it's not accessible, I'm like, okay, guys, if you cook, I bought food, you know. Yeah, there is ways, they become there. So start with, even if you start with 100 Rand, just start. You get the momentum as you go on. You are in a field where you teach us to start, Busandile.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Baba Moses.
One last question, Babzwan.
Kulungile ba?
Yes, this one I think I would like an answer from both of you as qualified financial coaches or financial practitioners.
Okay.
And it might sound as a silly question, but I really need some sort of a position in my life on this one. What is your take, guys, on playing stokvels as a way of generating money or as a way of keeping money or saving money instead of having these stash accounts, having these emergency accounts where your money is going to grow, even if it's not going to grow much of an interest, but it's I would say, for lack of better word, it's a safer way, or it's a universal way of saving those platforms. So the stokvels, are they? Is it something that you recommend? Are they safe in terms of keeping your money and generating more on your money, vis-a-vis saving your money on these professional platforms?
I'll let Ubongani answer first. I'll answer. I've been speaking too much for the past 2 hours. Can I?
Hey, Usandile, personally, angaze ngi-investe kuma stokfela, angina that much knowledge about it. But through nje reading, ngiyazi ukuthi is a platform where people generate income. They combined their money and invest it somewhere, maybe buy some product investment, and after 12 months they divide that money, make some good returns. But then on a platform, I don't want to provide an advice. I must be careful of that. But personally, what I'm using is Easy Equity. That's where I put my money at, and it grows at a very fast pace that than any other ordinary investments out there. So it is a platform that I'm using for that one.
Okay.
Okay, so Nage, I'm a female most Busandile, and you know we participate in these things. So, and I'm in a very rural town where they are like seriously there. But we need to be very careful when it comes to stokvels. There is, I don't want to rule it out. There are things that call themselves stokvels, and yet they are not. Those are the things that say put in 2,000 rand, then it's going to come back for a 4,000 rand or whatever. You know, those kind of things, the get rich quick schemes that demonstrate themselves as stokvels. That's not a stokvel because you stand a huge chance of losing all your money in that platform. So we need to be careful of that. But other than that, stokvels are a way to go, are the way where if we were using them correctly, we would be the richest nation in the whole world, because we have the buying power. So stokvel is basically putting in money together, collecting, it's called crowdfunding. Then we choose whether we buy grocery or we, like the one I am in with now, we put in money and then separate it at the end of the year. Yes, we separate at the end of the year. We are forced to take out the money so that we grow it. That's how we do it. It's a way that we are doing to grow our money, so that at the end of the year, see something that is like really nice. I can guarantee you, we all look forward to the month end of November, because that's where we call it kuqeba.
Yeah.
I don't understand the word, but we call it kuqeba. So if there is something like that where you all put in the money, either you say we are going to keep our money in the bank, so every month we are collecting this 1,000 rand, and then at the end of the year we siqeba. Guys, give me the word to in
What
to
to separate? Oh, you share. Okay.
Yes, we share the whatever we made, including the interest or what. But with the bank, obviously, it's like really seriously little money, like less than 7%. I'm sure it's way less now with the interest being done. And then there's this other one that is very popular in the rural areas where Tina Bomama Belal, we go in there, we put in the money together, and then we keep the money within our members. So we keep the money within our members. So I am currently holding about 15,000 rand of imali yabantu be bombuto. And on monthly basis, even though I'm not using that money, I am expected to bring interest, not the original amount, the interest. Then at the month, towards the year end, then we'll bring back the money together with the interest, and then we share amongst all members. So it's shared equally. Like I have 15,000, we've got about 20 members, the other one has 15, the other one, they all have 15,000. So at the end of the year, we're all bringing in the 15,000 rand together with the interest, and then we share. The only risk there is that if I decide not to come back with the 15,000 rand, but if I don't come back with the 15,000 rand, it means I'm not going to get my share, you know, so of which it's not something that I'm looking forward to. I can never like run away. If I'm choosing to run away, I'm running away with my money. So it's not going to affect other members. Do you get me? So you need now to look at the risk. You don't want your money to be in control of one person, because sometimes a person gets greedy and take the stokvel money. We've heard of the stories where people take stokvel monies and then they go bayodlala ngawo amabhanoyi, then the bhanoyi fly, and then a person akanamali to pay back the members. So you need to weigh off that when you guys sit down and say, let's start a stokvel, whether by rotating. When we rotate, we are like, okay, this month I'm 1,000 rand out, 5 are coming to you, the following month are going to this one, the following month, you know, like that. It rotates like that. Then again, there's got to be some sort of a mutual trust between the members, where you know a person is not going to say after getting their 5,000 rand they run away and all those things, which there's very few. You can't just go to a stokvel with someone you don't know. So there's got to be some sort of a mutual trust between the two of you. But overall, stokvels are good things, as long as it's not the ones that I mentioned where they say bring back 2,000, come with the 2,000, we're giving you 4,000. That one, you are standing a huge risk of losing your money. Then there's this one Ubongani was talking about, the easy equities. Easy equities, you're basically buying shares. You're buying shares on easy equities. I just make an example of the share that was popular with everyone at the beginning of the COVID, the Sasol shares. They were selling at 36 rand. A person who bought shares 3,600 at when April. Currently, I think the Sasol shares are selling at 140 rands. So they've gained that interest. But now again, there's a risk there involved, because if you're trading the easy equities, you're buying shares. If that company where you have bought shares loses the value, it means your shares again, they lose value. But you can only say you have lost value if you decide to sell at that price, you know, that lower price. Then you will have lost. Then again, it needs you to exercise patience and all of that. Just to make an example of a share that has done that, last year, the ARC, where Time Bank is, they were selling at 5 rand. I think currently they are selling at 3 rand. So whoever bought the shares at 3 rand, at 5 rand at the time, they've lost almost 50% of the money that they have bought. But we can only say they have lost if they decide to sell that share. So they can hold that share for over like 5 years and just maybe sell when the share price reaches 10 rands. But that's a platform for another day, where we just do teaching on how to buy shares, and we cannot share that.
Okay.
We just
mute. Baba Andile, are you okay with the questions? I want to take another candidate for questions.
Yes, I'm sorry that Nkosi.
Okay, Sabulela Baba. Ms. Pagati, can ask your question? Ms. Pagati? Ms. Pagati?
I think it's Mr. Pakama.
Oh, no, no, Ms. Pagati futhi la Cleo. Cleo? Okay, I don't know, maybe she, okay. Let me pop in another platform for questions. Anyone?
I think no one has a question anymore.
Okay, seems I
Hello. Hello.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I've been trying to get in, so I think it was a network problem.
Oh.
Mine it's not a question, but I just want to say to Sister Suguti, you know, you just set me free, because 2 weeks back, somebody just asked me to borrow the money, and I was not feeling good about it, because, you know, like when it's towards your month end, you have a list of people, you get WhatsApp, please borrow me 500, please borrow me this. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. You get people that are asking money from you because it's your payday, and at that moment you also have commitment, and sometimes you can't even borrow the money because you have to use your credit card, which will do interest at the end of the day. So I had to learn, Uguti, you know what, I'm not God of these people. People have to learn, as you guys are advising us that we need to do our financial planning. So actually I SMS the same lady to say, you know what, I really don't have money. Because when you say to people you don't have money, they think you don't want, but actually it's the truth. You don't have extra money to borrow them, because for you to borrow them, you have to use your credit card, which end of the day you have to bring back that money with interest. So I was actually feeling bad on saying, no, I don't have. I wanted to go to my credit card and give the people, and you know. But actually, I just learned it now today that actually I was not wrong to say I don't have.
Yes.
Yeah, so it really make me to feel good about it, because I was feeling bad. Oh, if I meet with her on Monday, it's a problem because I said I don't have. So I think this is really good. This is really good. I am so free.
Thank
I
you.
am so free. I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm getting there step by step. So thank you.
Cleo, Pagati, are you there? Cleo?
I'm here.
Oh, yes. Do you still have a question for us?
No, I'm sorted.
Oh, you're
I'm
sorted.
sorted. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yes,
sure.
yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Aslebu, I just want to say to you, you know, this thing of money, it has some issues with regard to self-love. I think this month, I think most of the coaches were focusing on self-love. So if you really love yourself, there are certain decisions that we have to take that will indicate how much you really love yourself. And then loving yourself, you have to say to set some boundaries. Mute yourself. Yes. So you have to be careful of the decision that you are taking, that to ensure that at the end of the day you are happy with your decisions. And when you respect yourself, other people will be able to respect you. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pagama, your mute is on there. Okay. Any final comments before I give our owner, our guest of honor, final remarks? Any other inputs or any other comments? Final comments before I close?
See on mute.
Okay, baphakama ufuna ukukhuluma?
Nabebuza abantu abanantsika bane-questions.
Okay. Manganambuzo, you can mute yourself. Okay. There are no comments. Okay. I'm allowing then our guest of honor to make the final remarks, and then we are closing. Miss Pelisa Mafunda, are you there? I don't see you now.
I don't know what you did.
Oh. Okay, yes. What are your final remarks, Coach?
Okay, thank you so much, Coach, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to serve. You know, getting people to just creating awareness. You know, this coaching thing, it's fairly new in our lives, and we, you know, people don't understand it, and we always willing to just educate people to understand what coaching is about, getting them enlightened.
Yes.
And I'm a fan of healing. I don't know how I came up. I cannot lie and say I have always known I'm going to.
Please. Nangalahlwa nginyoko silahlwe nangu. Okay.
Yourself, please.
So can I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Okay. So like I was saying, I cannot lie and say. Okay. Sorry about this. There's
No problem.
Okay. I cannot lie and say I've always known I was going to write a book about healing and all of that. But it was just a gift that I was given, and you know, I tried to avoid it, but it just kept on nagging me, and I ended up, you know, saying, you know what, let me just give in to this thing. And it's always a pleasure to get, you know, people when after a session getting a feedback of transformation, because that's what we are about. We are about starting a session from a blank point of view, and then by the end of the session, at least you have taken at least 1 point or 2, and you know, going there and implementation. Because we can talk, you know, I always say motivational speakers, they speak, and we go out, you know, motivated, and then 2 days down the line, the motivation is gone. And it's not really their fault. It's not. Who don't go out there. We went there for motivation, and they did their job. You know, we came out motivated, but then it is up to us to maintain the motivation. How do I then, what is it that I have taken that's actually going to help me? So I'm hoping really at the end of this session, a person is taking out something, even if it's one thing, even if it's practicing gratitude, even if it's finding a way to interrupt a bad habit pattern, even if it's acknowledging that you are wounded, you know, and being intentional about wanting to heal, because identifying alone, which I have this wound and there aren't any intentions to heal, then it's not going to take you anywhere. So all I'm hoping is that after these 2 hours and a couple of minutes later, each and every person who's here is taking out something that's going to be beneficial to them, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's the end of the month, or at the end of the year, or maybe in the next 5 years, because not all of us are going to see transformation tomorrow. I didn't see my transformation in 2 days. It took me a while to see my transformation. So someone else might said, I started in Jan, and then in March, my life was sorted. But you might not be, you know, your wound might be deeper than that. You know, you might have experienced more wounds than the person that took 3 months, or maybe your enlightenment is taking longer than them. You know, when people were talking about the law of attraction, I started hearing about law of attraction, I think 4 or 5 years ago, but I started to understand it only a year ago, you know, how it works and all of that, and how to be intentional about the things that I want to attract in my life. So I am just hoping that at the end of this session, someone is taking something that they are going to implement, because implementation is what brings the results. Thank you.
Hayi, siyabonga sis. I know ngesizulu bathini ngiphelela amagama nge-English bathi I'm speechful. No, Swami, no, we've learned a lot from you, and we thank God for your wisdom and the gift that are there. I've also learned a lot from you today. Thank you, Coach. You know what? I'm so speechless, Coach. You are so amazing. You are so amazing, Coach. Thanks, Coach. May God bless you and grow your talents, because I believe that the gift and the talents that are the seed that should be multiplied over and over and over for the world to benefit from you.
Thank you so much.
These are my final remarks. My guest, I thank you also for spending this 2 hours and a half on this session. I hope you've learned a lot from the coach herself. Thank you, and it's much appreciated. Coach, if people need you, where they can contact you?
Okay, so you can get me on my social media. I always say rather social media, because everybody's on social media these days. I'm available on social media as Phelisa Mafunda. Just, you know, social media, Phelisa Mafunda, like Facebook, Instagram. Guys, please do follow me on Instagram. You know, it's not right.
Okay.
I've got 7,000 followers on Facebook, but less than 1,000 followers on Instagram.
So Instagram is about photos, you know.
On Instagram and on Twitter, I'm also Phelisa Mafunda, and I'm also available on LinkedIn as well. I also have a website, www.phelisamafunda.co.za, and my page, where on every Friday I share financial wellness session on Facebook. It's called Financial Wellness with Phelisa Mafunda. Just go there and click like on it and refer your friends. I share very valuable information there. Yes, and you can contact me if you want to order the book, Healing the Wounds of Debt, at 074-9311-000. That's where you can just drop in a WhatsApp and order a book. I always say that book is the first step to you identifying yourself, because sometimes we just struggle to identify what is my problem. But when you read about it, you are like, oh, this is my challenge. Then it's easy for you to now then go back and be reminded, you know, of your past, of your old things, when you read about something that you can relate to. So yes, you can order the book there just to start. And I want to put it out there. The book is Healing the Wounds of Debt, but it heals even your financial bad habits. It was just a word that I was given at the time, but when I read it and when I get a lot of testimonies, I see Uguti, it's not just about debts, it's also about how you behave around money and your financial habits and other habits just in general, you know, you can also heal from that. Yeah.
No, thank you, Coach. Hi, Coach, let me love you and release you, Coach, and we appreciate your family for not disturbing you. We thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Yeah, bless.
Thanks. God bless. Bye-bye, Coach.
Thank you.
My guest, bye-bye also. Thank you for showing up. See you when we meet again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ms. Pagati.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.